Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beers and Boost. I'm Barry.
I'm bald.
And I'm Nathan.
I'm not far off from you there, Zach. I asked you about what you used to shave your head with last night because I might be going with you. It'll be two bald guys and a bunch of hair.
Two bald guys and a Wookiee.
I have quite a bit of hair going on right now.
All right. So let's get into it. We have not a ton of news, but we have recalls. There's always recalls. Sub is recalling a little over 188,000 Impreza sedans, hatches, Outbacks, Legacies, Ascents for a bad fuel pump. The fuel pump could wear too quickly, leading to cracks and failures that could cause the engine to stall, higher risk of crashes, potentially a fire, who knows.
Take a shot.
Yep. Subaru will replace the bad pump with a better one starting after June 5th. I love seeing dates on when recalls are actually going to happen. Makes me happy. Never happens. Do you say something?
Speaking of which,
Oh.
yeah, I said yeah. Speaking of which, see our next recall.
Yeah, so last but not least, McLaren. They're recalling around 2,800 of the Sennas. The 720Ss from 2016 to 2020, they're being recalled for a foam pad underneath the fuel tank that could absorb water and corrode the fuel tank, which would lead to a leak, which could lead to a fire. Take another shot.
Yep. Uno, fire, cars.
Or car fire at that.
Yeah, you probably don't want your very, 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 very expensive car to go up in flames and burn to the ground. So there's no timetable. Hopefully soon. I doubt these cars are getting that much use anyway, so it's probably fine. They're going to sit in a garage.
So you're saying you don't want hundreds of thousands of dollars going up in flames?
I mean,
Why not?
some Tuesdays I kind of want that, but not usually, no.
This car belongs to the Joker. He loves burning money.
He does. Good reference.
It's not a symbol. Okay. So let's move it. Our news section. We're not going to talk so much about COVID exactly, but maybe some things are dying because of COVID, and that's a terrible play on
Wow.
words. Yeah,
Wow.
I just realized that. So sorry. Hopefully, people are actually not dying. We know they are. It's different subject for a different day. Let's talk about cars. There's cars that are dying. I'm sorry. I apologize to anybody.
Welcome to the podcast where we laugh at death. Let's continue.
I mean,
Just
that's
gonna
actually not wrong.
It's not. It's just okay. It's funny enough. I put it down in the script titled "Dead Talk."
Should we just call this? Should we just come back another day? And no, I'm just kidding.
I think we're done. I think this is it.
So, GM's Maven, which no one apparently ever used, is now no more. If you don't know what it is, don't feel bad because GM didn't really know what it was. It was their attempt on a car sharing, car rental, driving, Lyft knockoff. Basically, you could rent a car for a day or an hour, 20 minutes. You could get someone from GM to drive you. You could rent it for 2 weeks. I mean, they didn't really have an idea with it. And it only ever actually saw about 17 to 19 cities. So it never really even got fully implemented. So yeah, it's done. We're gone. We're done with it.
Okay.
Give it to Larry.
Nothing
David.
says success by rolling out something that you're not sure how to use to a minimal number of places.
Yes. That's exactly what GM does. They succeed.
It reminds me, when I was in high school, we went on a road trip and we briefly found these Barks floats, like Barks root beer, but they were flavored like they were already an ice cream float. And they were just in bottles, just like normal, like 16-ounce bottles, whatever. And we're like, oh, this is kind of fun. Yeah, it was only in Louisiana.
I feel like that would sell.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a testing ground or whatever, but like the minute we left Louisiana, no one else had them. So
Interesting.
All right, then.
So another thing that is dead, the Lexus GS. So the last of the GS vehicles will be built in August, and according to Autoblog, last year the GS represented just 4% of the overall Lexus sales. which is a very tiny amount of Toyota Lexus, has cited it as that's the reason for its demise. No one's buying sedans, so we're going to get rid of the GS.
They're all getting the SUVs.
And the Corollas. The Corolla sales have somehow gone up. I wonder why. Probably because there's no more Ford sedans to buy and no more GM sedans to buy.
And the new Corollas look good.
They look good, and they're going to last until you die. So
After.
Yeah.
There's a reason that the people weren't buying the Ford and the GM sedans, and it's one, they wanted the good car that was going to last a long time, the Camry or the Corolla, or they wanted the BMW Mercedes aspect of it. And so Ford and GM decided to not try to make better sedans. They were just like, people just don't buy sedans. They don't buy our sedans. They just don't buy sedans at all. So we're just going to get rid of them completely. So it's just, I got to give them shit for that because it's a terrible idea.
What they should try is not commit to a specific design aesthetic to all of their different sedans, and then only sell them in like 17 to 19 places.
That's key for success.
It's the key. That's how you do it.
Okay.
So one last thing on our dead talk area is the partnership between Rivian and Lincoln, which is actually Ford. They had an EV SUV that was going to be built. Rivian, is an EV truck SUV company. Ford has put in a lot of money into their stuff, and Ford said, "We'll take some backing of that and put it towards a EV SUV made from Lincoln." Well, that's not happening. So yeah, and Automotive News did say it is because of coronavirus.
Didn't Rivian buy their factory from Ford?
No, that was Lordstown Motors.
That's right. Sorry. My bad.
So let's scroll on down here. So back to some more stuff that's happening because of COVID, but in a good way. If you don't really care to prove that you know how to drive, apparently teenagers in Georgia can go get their license if they just want to. They don't have to go take their driving test. You do have to have 40 hours of supervised driving, but it does not state if you had to have already completed that. It just says at some point you have to have 40 hours of supervised driving.
Is there any kind of like rules on who has to supervise said driving?
Nope. It could be the 17-year-old that has the driver's license.
I saw this. It's insane. I mean, cars these days, it's not like everyone's driving to drive standards and prove that they can actually like not explode an engine or something like that. But but the other thing, and we've talked about this, is some people are not going to take advantage of this because some teenagers these days don't want to drive.
Absolutely.
And
I've hired some of those teenagers.
Isn't there a clause in the like thing that you have to be able to get to and from work reliably?
Yes, but that reliability can also be unapparent. So.
Okay.
I do have to say, go ahead.
I'm never driving through Georgia ever again.
So oddly enough, I first got my driver's license in Alabama. And this was the year after, or 2 years after I lived in Georgia. I don't really remember the drivers in Georgia because I didn't really pay attention to it. But in Alabama, taking my test was literally turn right again, and then go down this like little area, park on a hill, back up, okay, turn right again, and we're back at the DMV. Like there was no true test of, hey, can you get on the highway? Do you know how to signal? Do you know how to look for pedestrians? Hey, there's a train coming. Do you know what to do? There was no true test to it. It was just, can you move this car and not speed? Is basically all the test was. So now people aren't even getting that minimum amount of effort put into it.
Okay, since we're telling driving test stories, I got mine in Oklahoma. It was actually pretty comprehensive. We drove around the entire town, which wasn't hard. It's at the end of the Panhandle. There's nothing there. But at the end, so I definitely failed the parking on a hill thing because we didn't have hills.
Me too.
So I had to imagine, like, okay, I'm going down, or it was down or uphill, and I'm just like, okay, what do I? So I just pulled a wheel against the curb and put it in park. He was like, all right. But at the end, at the end of all of this, having successfully parallel parked, successfully, look both ways at every stoplight, da 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 da. After all of that, he goes, well, the only thing I really marked you off on was that parking on a hill. You did not get that right. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. He goes, so you passed with a 76 out of 100. I was like, was that a 24-point knockoff? Also, by the way, passing is 75 and above. So I think to show that he's a tough grader, he just gave everyone a 76.
So mine, kind of similar to Barry's, it was we turned right out of the parking lot. We turned right, we turned right, we turned right, we turned right, got back into the parking lot. She said, all right, you're good. And I parked over the line crooked. She's like, it's fine. And here's your, you did it. It's like, I didn't have to parallel park. I didn't have to do hills.
Yep.
So are we saying that Georgia is skipping an unnecessary step now? Is that what we're saying?
We might be.
Maybe. I think we just proved how stupid the driving tests are, period, anyway. Like, people can't fucking get onto the highway. All right, Barry rant time. Where's my soapbox? Like, seriously, I drive by the highway all the time, and they're trying to get on or behind people, and they're going to merge onto a highway at 40 miles an hour. The fucking on-ramp is there for you to get up to speed and merge with traffic.
What's even better is they're going 40, and they're like, oh shit, there's traffic. Brakes. It's like...
And then when they get on the highways, when they finally go, oh, now I can hit the gas. Oh, there's a gas pedal.
Okay.
Aneurysm.
So that has always bugged me about here in Northwest Arkansas, that no one actually getting up to speed before they merge. The opposite happened to me the other day, which was terrifying. The minute we hit an exit ramp, the car in front of me slammed on their brakes.
No. You do not brake on the highway. And if you're getting off the off-ramp, that's meant for you to decrease in speed. You do not brake to get off onto the off-ramp, and you do not brake on the off-ramp. You let off the gas, and you coast down to the stoplight.
And you've got like an eighth mile, quarter mile to slow down before you get to the stop sign or stoplight, whatever's at the end. Like, you don't have to slam on the brakes. I just let off the throttle and then...
Yeah, that's all you do. You do not brake on the highway.
Exactly. Braking on the highway is my biggest pet peeve when it comes to exiting. Sorry, slight offshoot of Barry's thing here. But when you're like a tenth of a mile from your exit and you're already braking, I should be able to run and get a new car. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree 100%. Like the reason, there's a whole bunch of study that's been done on this and why self-driving cars would save us traffic, like period. Traffic would not exist if we had self-driving cars. Because you wouldn't have to worry about communication or worry about whatever somebody else is going to do, because the cars would talk to themselves. Like, you wouldn't need stoplights. Like, the math they would do, there would never be traffic. You would take a 15-minute journey down to 2 minutes. It's fantastic. But you would not... The cause of braking in a normal 8 o'clock traffic, one car braking 15 miles away can cause a traffic backup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people getting off the exit in Bentonville affect me in Fayetteville driving towards Bentonville.
Yeah, that
like, that's how bad it is. You don't brake on the highway, just period.
Also, merging on the highway, if it is traffic, zipper merge is the easiest thing. One car goes, one car comes in. One car goes, one car comes in. You don't have to beat fucking 10 people. We're all going to be stuck on the fucking highway for the next half hour.
But people are selfish. Tits. They're selfish. They gotta be in the front all the fucking time. No, just wait your turn. Everybody wait their goddamn turn.
There are some cities in the U.S. That actually have signs up saying, like, merge like a zipper. Mm-hmm. And if you don't allow someone to merge in front of you because they are, it's next in line or anything like that, if you cut or anything, you can get a ticket.
That should be always a thing.
Absolutely. Anyway.
Full podcast rant.
We're done with our traffic rant. We had a rant for the first time in a little while. Let's talk about trucks. And oddly enough, FCA is working on a truck called the 1500 Rebel TRX. Trucks.
I don't have enough beer for this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't had any beer yet today. And... yeah, so FCA. What are you going to do?
FCA. It was supposed to come out in September, but now it looks like it's going to come out around mid-October. I got to say, I've never seen this thing before, and I don't have any pictures of it. I should have gotten some pictures for you guys. But it is going to be their attempt to kill the Raptor. And I mean kill literally with its Hellcat V8 that produces 707 horsepower.
But why do?
Yeah, this is not going to happen.
Stupid. It does come with adjustable steering, driving modes, and suspension setups.
Speaking of adjustable steering, I don't know if we talked about this. F1 Mercedes just did a thing where you can move the steering wheel in or out, and it changes the toe. Yeah, like it's terrifying.
Hey.
Like they show Lewis Hamilton, like he gets onto a straight, he pushes the steering wheel in, they cock in a little bit to give him straight line stability, and then he comes up to a corner, pulls it back out. Like, could you imagine going around a corner and accidentally moving the steering wheel and suddenly it's just like every other team was just like, hold up. I don't know if this is legal.
They just added another level of difficulty to being an F1 driver. That's already one of the most difficult jobs out there. Like,
yeah.
Oh, the physical control that Lewis Hamilton specifically has when it comes to just like the rote memory of the most minute physical detail of this is where my foot should be. This is what my, is insane.
Oh yeah, the level of body control, but then also the coordination to be able to have your fingers for shifting a gear, to have your foot in the exact right level, to be tilted with the car, to have now you got to do this as oh my god, and you're doing all of that at 100 plus miles an hour all the time,
and pulling multiple G's through a corner, trying to keep your damn head straight, and then changing your brake bias, and maybe you're changing the fuel map over here. Like, I couldn't do it.
No. More power to you, but
and just don't forget you have to do that 55 times.
Yeah.
Per lap.
But also 55 laps.
Yeah.
Yes.
After you've done practice for 100 and qualifying for 50, and this is your third day straight of I'm sitting in this car for hours on end.
Yeah.
No AC, nothing.
And you got people talking to you all the fucking time, and you're like, I don't even know how to respond to you, let alone drive. Anyway, back to the news. Ford is finally paying out their lawsuit that they were filed against for their shitty, faulty, terrible piece of shit transmissions.
Was that the technical term for those, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely was. They're shit boxes of transmissions that were in the Focuses and the.
They need to rebrand. I'm just saying that now.
But if you own a 2011 through 2016 Fiesta or Focus with the automatic transmission, you may be getting anywhere from $20 up to $20,000 back in your mailbox. This all comes from the lawsuit that was filed for Ford putting out these broken transmissions in these cars, knowing about it, and then when people complained about it, they wouldn't fix it. And then you had to go up to your dealership and tell them, hey, this is what I have. They would tell you no, and then you had to ask specifically for the exact right thing, and then they would maybe fix it. Well, that's all finally coming to fruition, and you're going to, at minimum, get $20 back and possibly get your car repurchased. So
those people that got $20 back are going to be like, awesome. Life is worth it.
Cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get some falafel and tank of gas, I guess.
There was at the company that Zach and I work for, we have an interweb, like basically eBay. It's like a posting where you can sell, and someone posted a meme for free to a good owner the other day. And it was from Ant-Man. It was Michael Pena and who's Paul Rudd.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like going back and forth. It's when he gets out of jail and he's like telling them what's happened since then. And then he's like, so tell me about 2020. He goes, oh, we almost had World War III and a virus like almost destroyed the human race and all that stuff. He goes, but we got $1,200. He's like, nice.
Well, here's your $20 for your broken transmission. That's so Ford. Here's $20.
I'll give you a fiver.
My bad.
Yeah. So, Nathan, let's talk about the car that you sent us a picture about. yesterday. So the C8, we talk a lot about how this is possibly the best car. I mean, did you get to listen to it? Like,
Oh yeah,
is it good? Is it good in person?
yeah, it was nice.
Okay.
It was quieter than you'd think. I was behind them. I went up to go pick us up some Chinese food, and I actually passed it. It was going the other way the first time when I was going to the restaurant, and then somehow I wound up getting back to the highway, and I was behind it. But I did hear it get up to speed once. It was nice, but it was quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's city roads, so.
Okay.
I'm sure they have some kind of baffling, so it's quiet until you get on it, and then it'll open up. A lot of cars do that nowadays.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I was just curious because we talk about how that's like maybe the best car to buy for the money, or at least the best supercar to buy. We may have a new contender coming for the best buy on the road, and that would be the Hyundai Veloster N. So, talking about it a little bit here, and the reason why it maybe wasn't the best buy is because not everybody could have it, because originally it came with only a manual transmission. Well, now they're putting in a new version of their automatic transmission called the DCT-8, and is a dual clutch wet transmission, 8-speed. And the price is not going up. The price is going to stay right at $31,000 for a fully built Hyundai Veloster N, which weighs just over 3,000 pounds, has 275 horsepower, 260 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, 4 seats, and a hatchback.
Yeah, I'm in. It's happening.
I mean, yeah, like for $30,000, is there a better car that's besides the C8 for $60,000?
I'm still in.
I don't know if there is.
Yeah. Hyundai. Come on now.
So I texted you guys about the C8. We'll go back to the C8 for a second. And I told you, like, I don't like the way it looks in red.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized it's not that I dislike the way the car looks in red. I hate their red.
I was going to
shade
say
of red.
I
It's
wish
got
it was
like
brighter.
Like in different like furrows and stuff in the car, it almost has like a burnt oranginess to it that I'm just not okay with. The problem is they use the same paint mixture for all of their paints, and it looks good in all the others. Just don't buy the red one.
Yeah, I was thinking like almost a red like my car, like the Ford Mustang, that just super bright pop. I think would be better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a less glossy finish is what it needs.
Yeah. Trying to go back and find it.
So I have 100%, always, my entire life, hated a C8, I mean not a C8, a Corvette in yellow. Well, I think I like yellow now on Corvettes.
Well, that's just because it's a Lamborghini now.
It's that like almost green, like super bright yellow.
It really does, like, it's a Lambo McLaren.
Yeah.
When it's in that color, because you're like, oh, that's where they got some of those design elements.
Yeah, I really like it in yellow. I like the yellow a lot more than I do the red. The red's not bad, but I think I agree with you, Nathan. The red's the wrong color palette for it. It needed to be, like Zach said, a really bright, popping red. It's more muted, and I don't like it.
Speaking of something that looks good in red, though, we went grocery shopping this morning for a couple items. Came out red Stinger, red brake calipers. Good to go.
Kia Stinger.
Their yellow's really pretty too. Their yellow looks really
Which I did read an article where they might be discontinuing it because no one's buying it.
Boo. Bullshit. Well, at least we have the Hyundai Veloster.
Yeah. We got something.
We got something. All right. Well, that's the end of news. You guys got some segments you want to hit on?
I've got one.
I do. Zach, you up?
Sure. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Well, I have. I can go first. We can do a stump Zach with this or not, but I'll just describe a car. Let me pull up my little window here.
No cheating, Zach. We can't see your screen.
I'm not
All right, there you go.
Googling. I'll keep
There
my
you
hands
go.
up.
And actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off push to talk so I can have free hands to scroll and stuff. So just 1 second.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
What do I do with my hands?
Also, you can hear me typing on this fucking keyboard, so you'll know if I'm searching for something.
Zach, never not Googling. All right. Let's talk about a car that ran from 70 to 77.
Okay.
What do I go first? What do I do first? It is front engine, rear wheel drive.
Okay.
It was powered by a 2.6 liter V8. It is a 2x2 coupe. So it was a coupe, but it had four seats. And then, let's see. Yeah, 2.6 liter V8 had double wishbone suspension with springs and dampers at the front and a live axle with limited slip diff at the rear.
Jensen Interceptor?
Sorry?
Jensen Interceptor?
No, but you know, you're not too far off in terms of styling. I will say that it is Italian, which is interesting for an Italian. Any ideas, Barry?
I don't have any yet.
Okay.
It's an alpha of some sort, isn't it?
What?
Is it an alpha?
It is an alpha.
Okay. I don't know their models well enough.
What'd you say?
I don't know their models well enough to pick the model.
Okay. Well, I will say this. It was Alpha's only real 70s muscle car, which is a weird thing to say. But it was called the Alfa Romeo Montreal because it was introduced at the Montreal Car Expo. Have you guys ever heard of this one?
I've heard of it.
Okay, I got pictures. Give me 1 second. And my computer is wanting me to reboot. That's awesome.
Windows updates.
We're gonna copy.
Yep, I remember this thing.
Okay, so that's one picture. Again, the engine wasn't much. I think it got it was 0 to 60 in like 12 and a half seconds. It was more for looks than anything. I got one other really quick that it actually looks a lot better in red. So give me 1 second here. But I came across this one. It was labeled as a concept car, but they actually produced it for 7 years. So is this? It's not inputting my picture here. 1 second.
You can do Windows Shift S, and it's a built-in Windows snippet, and you can.
Well, I have it snipped. That's it's just not pasting into Discord.
Mine does that sometimes.
Bear with me.
Oh, I'm already Googling.
There we are.
So red.
Yeah. So it had some very similar design elements to what you see today and throughout Alpha's life cycle so far. But it's definitely 70s. Like if you look at it, just some of the different style and design on it, the kind of vents behind the doors that you see there are very 70s. But it was fairly popular. It was popular amongst car enthusiasts that could afford it. And here's where its downfall was. It was more expensive than the 911, which, okay, got it. It's Italian. They're probably banking on that. It was more expensive than the E-Type. And that's where its downfall is. Because if you're going to choose a Jaguar and this, also, the Jaguar at one point was one of the faster cars in the world. This is not a fast car at all. It's just there because it's Italian and it looks good. And you can drive it on the Riviera. So,
Wow.
Do you buy an E-Type? Or do you buy a Fireball?
well, again, this comes back to it. Do you want to go up in flames with your car? What we started off with today.
Yeah.
Because you might choose this one.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty, but
it's very pretty. It was very popular. In fact, it was a concept car when they took it to Montreal, and it had such a response that they decided to actually make it a production car. So
a few of the cars I've talked about have been that way. It's like, we're just going to show, hey, we can do something cool. And people are like, take my money. Just take my money. You're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll build it.
in this case, they were like, we'll take all of your money. So
mortgage that house.
Nope, that's my car for today, left field.
I forgot about this thing with the weird. I don't get the headlight covers that are in the hood, but you can take them off. But like, why are they there?
Actually, they open up.
Oh, they do?
Like you can they don't open up like
pop-ups.
They're like blinds. Like they kind of
okay.
rotate and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
I wonder. I'll have to look for this later. I know the 70s Lincoln Continental. It had those headlight covers that would pop up.
yeah.
They weren't electronic. You turn on the headlights, and it was a spring that would heat up and open them. So if it seized, or your headlights weren't hot enough, they don't open.
That's probably not good.
No.
That's probably not a good thing. Also, it's really fun looking at all these 70s cars and realizing like pedestrians were just fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's why pop-up lights
this
are
is
in the
just chrome and glass coming right at you if something happens.
ball of steel. So is that all you had on the Alpha?
That's all I had on it. It's actually it could go 137 miles an hour. Rapid top speed.
Oh, I think my car can do more than, well, it could when I was running 12 psi. I'm not anymore. Well,
do I want a Porsche 911, just like perfectly engineered to take corners and get to top speed and do all that stuff, or do I want to do none of that? That's the real question you got to ask yourself.
I want to spend more money and not do that. Got my car.
This is one of the rare times where a car, like they took something out and made it more expensive. In this case, it was any form of power.
You're not going to get carpet or a glove box or a radio or any of that. No, you're just not going to get power. That'll be 30 grand extra.
It also probably didn't have any of those other things either.
Probably not.
Your cigarette ashtray, 2 lighters,
4 of those.
and then it came with a lifetime supply that instead of an engine, where you would add another 2.4 liters of engine, you just added an unlimited supply of cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
They would just up through the console and.
Now that you mentioned more engine, having looked at this car, they had a 2.6 liter V8 in it, a really tiny V8.
Yeah.
What else was in that hood?
Cigarettes.
It's just cigarette storage. The engine, it's actually rear engine. I'm just kidding.
It's not smoking because it's overheating. No, it just, the cigarette compartment got a little hot and it lit them on fire. It's fine. Just go huff it a little bit.
It has a thing where it actually hands you a lit cigarette. So you don't have to worry about the cigarette lighter.
Boom. All right.
Moving on to CCC.
Yes, we are on to Fast of the Decade. We are to the 80s, my favorite time for cars. And while researching this one, it's a little more interesting than I ever thought it was. I think you guys both know, but we're going to talk about the F40. The Ferrari F40 from 1987 to 1982 was designed to celebrate Ferrari's 40th anniversary, hence F40, Ferrari 40. And was the last car to be personally approved by Enzo. It was the last car he gave the thumbs up, build it, let's get it out. And at the time, it was Ferrari's fastest, most powerful, and most expensive car. They originally planned to only make 400, but they made 1,300. And the suggested price in 1987 was $400,000, or $900,000 today. So this was
By
their
supercar standards.
This was their Enzo. This was their LaFerrari. This was their here's $1 million car.
You can get money now. Like if you build a supercar, well, $1 million
Pretty much.
at this point nowadays. So,
And since it's Ferrari, you pay them that, and then if they do, you do something they don't like with it, they come and get it back from you.
Yep. Because you're not actually buying the car, you're just buying the rights to drive it as long as you follow their contract. Basically, is what it seems like. But in 1984, the Maranello factory had begun development on the evolution of the 288 GTO, so the 288 GTO Evolution, to compete against the 959 in Group B. Well, we know what happened to Group B. So they had 5 of the 288 GTO Evolution development cars left, and Enzo decided that this is going to be my last car. Evolution program guys, build it for the road. Let's go nuts. And they did. So power came from an enlarged version of the 288 GTO's IHI twin-turbo intercooled V8. I have an IHI turbo. So it was a
You practically have a Ferrari.
Pretty much. So it was a 2.9-liter V8 that produced 471 horsepower and 426 foot-pounds of torque. And apparently actual power, torque, and even gear ratios differed between a lot of the cars. So it seemed like they were just kind of scrapping stuff together, like just slap a transmission on it, go. So the body was designed by Leonardo Fioravanti and Pietro Camardea of Studio Pininfarina. You gotta get the hand.
Barry just looks like he's bad at flipping people off.
The body panels were made of Kevlar, carbon fiber, and aluminum. They did a bunch of aerodynamic testing. Obviously, it's got the big wing. Surely it's functional, right? They also reduced weight by using polycarbonate plastic windshield and windows, so no actual glass. No sound system.
They also saved weight by having no interior.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. No sound system, no door handles, no glove box, no leather trim, no carpets, and no door panels.
here's your chassis, some form of body, and a motor.
Pretty much. The first 50 used the Lexan sliding windows where you just had like a little hole that you slid open. Then after the first 50, they actually gave you little wind down windows. When I was looking at this, there was a lot of like reviews from people that had driven it, and it was basically like, this thing's fucking stupid and nuts. Or like professional race car drivers being like, it flies all over the place. Like nothing's actually put together. You can feel the chassis flexing. Everything rattles all the time because they just put a shell on an open wheel car is all they did. So maybe not the best quality from Ferrari, but you know. So the first independent measurements of 0 to 62 was 4.7 with a top speed of 199. So now we all know the Ferrari because it was the first car to hit 200 miles an hour. While I was researching this, no Ferrari F40 has ever done 200 miles an hour. They all hit 199, and that's all they can do.
Tell me about it.
Mm-hmm. So they had a shootout at the Nardo Ring, organized by Auto Motor and Sport magazine. Ferrari sent 2 cars. They did 199 miles an hour. It was beaten by the Porsche 959S, which did 211. also beaten by the Roof CTR, the Yellowbird, that hit 213. But both of those cars, they only built 29. It was not a production car. So even though Ferrari didn't hit 200 miles an hour like they claimed, it was still the fastest production car in the 80s. There you go.
All right.
I just remember Clarkson driving one on Top Gear and being like, I would never drive this thing again.
Mm-hmm. I heard that they're very hard to drive, and they're all over the place, and it's a lot of power with no... I think they weighed like 2,400 pounds and had nearly 500 horsepower. So you put your foot down, and it's going to move somewhere, maybe not in the direction you want it to. See,
I mean, also that motor's what? You said a 2.9 liter V8, so there's like no actual weight over the back tires, which is where you need some weight at, and then there's definitely no weight over the front. So
I mean, it's got 2 turbos and intercoolers back there. Also, so you talked about a 2.8 liter V8. I just talked about a 2.9 liter V8, and the power and speeds are a lot different.
Yeah, Alpha's like, why would you want to go fast?
And Ferrari just points at the F40 like,
it's like, it looks good. What more do you want?
It's got pop-up headlights. So yeah, I never realized until I was researching this that it actually never did 200 miles an hour. No one has done 200 in an F40, even though it's always all over the internet, everywhere. The first car to hit 200.
I mean, I always heard the claims were actually 201, that the Ferrari F40 did 201. That was always the claims I heard, and I always thought that the Porsche had beaten it. I did not know that the Porsche was not a production. That's why when Zach and I were talking about this a long time ago, when we were talking about the fastest cars, I was like, it can't be the F40, because the F40 wasn't the fastest car. And then, come find out, it was,
production.
Even though fastest production. And even then, it still didn't hit its claimed miles per hour.
And that's
those assholes.
3 or 4 different tests at some very high speed rings, and I think the lowest record was like 197. So never actually did 200. You heard it here first. The F40 was not the first car to hit 200 miles an hour. Well, production car.
I'm still gonna say it's really fast.
Yeah, that's really
just a fast speed.
While I was looking at this, there's an old video of someone in Japan with an F40 on the highway, and he's just doing like 120 kilometers an hour, and then 140 kilometers an hour, and then the roads open up, and he's just like fucking 300 kilometers an hour, which is 198, I think, and he's just cruising down Japanese roads. But you can see like the whole car is just like maybe if it was more put together, it would actually do 200 miles an hour.
The frames on your webcam are not 60 frames or even 120 frames on your webcam, so seeing the handshake looks just like what your hands probably look like when you're shaking in the car. Just
It's like, maybe we secure these panels a little better. It might reduce some drag.
Nah, just an old leather strap. It's fine. Which I think that's actually what it used. I think it actually uses leather straps to hold all the panels on.
But like good Italian leather.
That's been baked in the sun and the heat of the car, and now it's 30 years old and cracked shit.
Why does this car smell like a dead cow?
New motto.
So actually that claim where there was no leather trim, that's wrong. There is leather. Just not in the car.
You don't get to see it.
No, not when you're driving.
Well, you guys got anything else to add to the cars this week?
I don't think so. I think that weird Mercedes steering is the thing that I found that was interesting, which I found that a while ago and just forgot about it.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. So, although I didn't bring this up because it's not really news yet, but BMW is released some details of the successor to the i8.
I saw an i8 yesterday.
So they are going to actually make it like powerful, evidently, and it looks a little beefier. But it's all it's all just drawings right now. It's nothing.
Drawings and renders.
They're hoping to hit 600 horsepower. So.
That's pretty doable today.
Yeah, they've got the motors for it.
Yeah. All right. Good deal. Good deal. Well, yeah. Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Have a good midweek.